Bengaluru is growing rapidly by the day, and the population influx is too much. So this panel, we want to discuss how are we accommodating all of these people who are lining up in Bangalore? How do we make it sustainable? How do we make sure that the growth is sustainable and we're not out of track and make the city not livable? So whenever we speak of development, the first thing that comes to mind is about a master plan. So I want to open up the discussion asking Mr. Harris. Sir, we had our master plan which was planned for 2015. So even a decade after that, we continue to use it because we don't have a master plan prepared right away. So I want to ask you, what is the progress on it? When are we expecting it? What is happening on that front, sir?
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Hope all of you are enjoying Bangalore. As the chairman of BDA, and I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to be here. Okay, as far as the master plan for Bangalore, whatever you are asking, everybody knows the reason why it was taken back and what has happened. Now, the new government, we have already taken up dronal survey of the city is happening now. Once that happens, I think we will be getting into the actually making what all new things has to be done and how it has to go forward. See, earlier there was like the green belt was removed and then green belt was supposed to be added, and as a Bangalorean I also believe that green belt should exist. So it is between the line that we need to fight with keeping green belt and giving more development and things like that, because Bangalore city is growing beyond anybody's control. Because the demand for Bangalore city is the highest by all means. So now we all need to together take it forward to see how we can utilize that in a good way and also make beneficial for Bangalore and Bangaloreans. I think it needs a little more workout on it, and which is started. We have started with it, and the minister in charge for Bangalore city is very much interested, and I'm sure he is also going to add on a lot of values to it, because he is also looking at making Bangalore sustainable by all means. So we all know the reality. There's nothing to talk in front of you, say something and get away from here, because we all live here. We experience it every day. So now we all together, we need to work on to make it better. So maybe in the discussion, we'll go further to give on what you just asked me what is happening. I've told you that.
Right. So you were speaking about adding value to the master plan and how it goes. So I would like to ask Mr. Abhishek and Mr. Mallana, from the real estate point of view, what more are you expecting out of the master plan? What are you expecting that it would cater to the needs of the industry? What is it that you're expecting out of it?
So, I was just early on having a conversation and we were discussing. So in fact, I mentioned that as a city, I think Bangalore has grown tremendously, and the way it is, and sir is absolutely right, I think highest demand in the country because of many reasons. But I think the big opportunity, for example, in Bangalore would be redevelopment space. In the city center, urban rejuvenation, I think, is a very big opportunity where you have the infrastructure, where you have everything that's available, but there are certain social infrastructure that is lacking. For example, not enough medical facilities, hospitals, etc. are not available. Now, there are areas where people's quality of living is very, I would say, suboptimal. An area would be a Chickpet, for example. Now, in that area, can you really create a policy framework in which you can do comprehensive redevelopment, enhance the quality of people's life, at the same time bring to the city what is required where the infrastructure is already present? And it's something which has been done in the past by many cities. So, while we all talk about the infrastructure and the challenges, I think we also need to look at opportunities. And this is a great revenue generating opportunity for the government to then deploy into infrastructure as well, while people's quality of life is improving, and it's in a space and a location where you already have the land and you already have the space to do those development things. So that would be one of them. And the second one, I think, is water. I think the biggest challenge in my mind is water. How is it that in our overall zoning and planning and thinking do we address this issue of water?
Mr. Malana, would you like?
Thank you very much. So what do we expect out of the development plan? See, the development plan was originally called CDP. That's the Comprehensive Development Plan. We have to pay attention to the word comprehensive. Really speaking, a development plan or an urban planning for a city is about how, as a society, we live in it. It's about, not just about the zoning where we do the residential, commercial, retail and other things. It's also about how do we live in terms of water, electricity, transportation, jobs, education and art, architecture. And these are all part of a human society, in a well-developed society's living. And what we are looking for in the new development plan, sir, is an attention to detail about all these things. For example, if we say that in the new area is added in the new development plan, which will have 2,500 acres of residential development. What it really means is that it's going to probably add up some 1 million people into the population. 1 million people, what are their needs? For example, if you look at old Bangalore, what used to be called in our time, erstwhile BCC, Bangalore City Corporation, which is within the ring road, today what the ring road we have. That city still performs, even though many buildings have been built, even though the population has increased, even though hundreds of thousands of new vehicles have been introduced, city still functions. Still we have 2 largest parks in the country. Still we have, Ravindra Kalakshetra, Puttana Chetty Bhavan, and, Pitil Chaudaya Hall, and so on and so forth. So there was an idea as to how the city has to function. In my opinion, we are all culprits in that. It is not just blaming the government or anything like that. As a population that we have failed in terms of urban planning, in my opinion, we have gone around 25 to 50 years backwards. So probably this started from the way we grew, the speed at which decadal growth of Bangalore is almost 68% or so. So it's breakneck speed, and probably we couldn't anticipate that kind of speed. And all the local areas that we started adding into the Bangalore city, calling it Bangalore, Bruhat Bangalore Mahanagarapalike, so that the unplanned adding of those things added to our woes is what I think. And it's not to be blaming anybody, it's about a blame that we all have to take. Having lived in this city for the last 50 plus years, I'm part of it and I feel very sad about it.
Right. When you say about unplanned development and all of it, Ma'am Anjali, I would like to ask you, how has Bangalore grown in the last decade, and a lack of master plan or the expired master plan, how has it affected the growth? What do you see, and how would that reflect in the future for the next decade or so? What would you see?
So thank you very much for having me here. How has Bangalore grown in the last decade? I think all of us are able to see it. We are able to engage with it. There is a lot of development, or there is a lot of growth. I won't necessarily call it development, that is occurring. And like any other city in India and large cities, it is largely growing on the peripheries, and that is a function of land economy. Having said that, the lack of a master plan, to me, in my head as a planner, it's a huge debilitating factor that we have today. We must remember that there is a master plan that currently is what we are saying is going to steer the growth of Bangalore, which is premised on data that was of 2006. We are a mega city, we are one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and therefore to say that we are going to rely on something that was analyzed and collected in 2006, I think should not be acceptable at all. And I think we do need a master plan. And as Mr. Chairman here said, that if we do have the newest of technologies, a drone map, a drone which will actually allow you to capture the city and its extent, and should do it very accurately in a very quick and a comprehensive manner, that itself is a huge leap forward for us to start looking at a city and understanding it and saying, what do we want to do with it? How do we want to, how should we want the city to grow? I know that in my work, when I step out and I engage with the everyday city that people actually occupy, there is a huge problem because people point to a wetland which was shown as a residential area and say, I have got permission to construct because the master plan says it is yellow in color. From 2006, we have moved now close to 2 decades, and there is a new understanding of how cities should grow, how cities should expand. What are some of the more critical factors in the city's growth today? A primary one is really the city's ecology. We are stepping into a summer which is going to be absolutely crazy for most of us, even those who sit in ACs. Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. How are we actually trying to address some of these challenges is what the master plan should be speaking to. And with this, I mean, just to conclude this point, I would really request the BDA to take this up as a priority and say that the master plan has to be a master plan which is reimagined, which is thought through, should be the primary tool which is dictating the growth and steering the growth of a contemporary city like Bangalore, which is largely on the global map, and it needs to be done.
Right. One point that Ms. Anjali raised was about the growth on the periphery. So, sir, is the BDA planning to expand its jurisdiction? What are you looking at, sir, given that there is a lot of growth happening outside and close to Bangalore as well? So, what is it that the BDA is actually looking at?
See, actually, BDA looks after the entire development of Bangalore city. Actually, no development should go without the BDA's concurrence. Of course, some illegal activities happen here and there, which also we all know that. But then, again, see, there's a two-part to it. One is a business part. People want to make money out of Bangalore. One is make Bangalore a better place for everybody to live. So this, in between these two, the government need to do its planning. Okay. Now here it is like, as she said, peripheral outskirts. So now everything is coming. Now BDA is going ahead to acquire land to develop, give more residential facilities and other. Along with, when we talk about residential, all other facilities also come along with that. Now there is a dispute between farmers and BDA. Farmers don't want to give their land, and now we already worked out on a 60-40% of sharing of developed land with farmers and BDA. So when all this comes, of course, things will change. Now the peripheral ring road is coming, which has been there from a very long time. Now we are already signed with HUDCO for a 27,000 crores loan, and we are going ahead with it. Government is taking the risk to invest such big money because to make Bangalore better. So the commitment of government is very clear. But there are a lot of other players also in all these things who also need to come forward to do this. Otherwise it doesn't happen just by government itself. See, we make a lot of laws and rules, regulations, which has to be followed by everybody.
One other thing, sir, when both Mr. Abhishek and Malana pointed out, with the development, there have been a lot of problems with the infrastructure. Many of them, we've heard people talking to us, telling many by-lanes in the city which were almost traffic-free, now see a lot of traffic and the groundwater levels are depleting. So with the population density increasing, infrastructure is also coming to be a problem. So
the speed of population increasing, speed of growth of traffic population and the development, all this has to go in the same speed.
Right. So how is it
I do agree, because I also live here, no? So I do agree with all these things. We need to grow in the same speed. Maybe somewhere some growth speed is slower than the other growth. So overall, we have to control these things. But then, see, as far as Bangalore is concerned, certain facilities, certain growth which has been there for many years, suddenly you can't change. Now CBD area, we know we have already widened the roads, we have made one-ways for the road. The traffic is increasing every day. So now, as the chairman, now I am talking to some AI, artificial intelligence, to suggest how to control the traffic. So we want now, as the growth comes in and changes come in, we also need to get into it. A lot of flyovers, a lot of tunnels are going to be done. These are all looking at the development of infrastructure. And when government is going to do all this, it's going to benefit the people in the city. And traffic, I have travelled across the globe. Everywhere there is traffic. And only city everybody talks of Bangalore. That's a sad story. But then I don't let somebody say no city has the traffic problem. Everywhere it is there. It is not that it is only in Bangalore. But then of course, we want to make Bangalore a better place. So we all need now, a lot of people give suggestion, you make it like Singapore, you tax. Is it possible to do that? And you can't bring your vehicle every day, you make it. In Singapore, population is very less, area is very less. You imagine our Bangalore City Corporation, the area is around 1,200 square kilometers. And the population is now touching 1.5 crores. So it's not a joke. And with all this, the government is putting all efforts to see how we can make it better. Infrastructure work is going on every day, every minute, every second infrastructure work is going on in Bangalore. And we are also looking at making it better for everybody. A lot of new things are coming up. Lot of revolutionary changes are going to come into Bangalore city. And I'm sure this will help everybody. And Bangalore development across is going to be one of the best. And I tell you, promise you that this city is in demand all over the globe. And it will continue, and it is all for the whatever good we are doing. If we hadn't done anything, then where will this demand come in? Of course, there will be lacks and things, we have to agree. I cannot sit in front of so many people and just say something and get away from here. We are all committed, we all want to make it better and different, and I give it open to all. Anybody who want to add on values to make Bangalore city better, want to give some your own views for master plan, you're welcome. You can come to my office, we can fix a time. I have already had meetings with all the developers and everyone. We can still have, and we can take the input, because thoughts and thinking differ from person to person. So we can take all the inputs, and if it is going to help Bangalore, we will have it, and we will have the minister and everybody sit together and discuss about it. So that is how we can make it better. And it's in every minute, every hour it is growing. So we need to be on toes to keep it happening. And that exactly is what we are all doing. There are a lot of negative and there are a lot of other things coming up, but we are facing it. And we will do it. See, the commitment is that we want to make Bangalore better. There's Bangalore, it's not just BDA, it is BBMP also, then BMRCL. Now metro is also being done very vastly and at a very highest speed, work is going on. So all these connectivities and things will make it better. And of course, I also agree some satellite cities should have been made. Some plans were there from earlier days, but it did not happen. So even now, I think it is not late. We can encourage to the next neighboring district and do that. Maybe that will also ease out life in Bangalore city. I think that is my proposal to the government also.
From the real estate point of view, sir, what are the challenges with respect to infrastructure? And you are the ones who cater
real estate
to
people are the ones who are actually putting a lot of effort to make Bangalore better.
Right.
I need to congratulate them at this point because, and of course, they have challenges are there, but then the challenges give them good result.
So what are the challenges, sir, and what are the steps you are taking to ensure this sustainable development? I mean, responsible development is also one part of it. We can't, as you real estate developers, you can't let go of it as well. So what are the steps you're taking, or what are the challenges you are trying to address as a part of it?
So there are a lot of initiatives that most of the developers are taking, and as an industry, all developments that happen have to be planned and integrated into the city. So almost every developer, I can say for sure in Bangalore, is looking at, for example, traffic situation. When they're doing a project, they understand the challenge of how much traffic has to come in and go out, how will the parking spaces operate, how will you create access, where you are doing what kind of development. For example, if you're closer to a metro station, you know that there is a certain kind of development that is sustainable. So, and how do you integrate your development into the infrastructure of the city to cause minimal damage or impact in terms of the life of the rest of the city. Similarly, sustainability is not just what we do from the environment as an MOEF compliance point of view. But I think sustainability is something that is in demand specifically in Bangalore, because all the citizens of Bangalore and the companies which operate here are mostly global. There is a huge customer demand on sustainability, whether it is commercial or residential. So that is also creating initiatives from the developers and in the industry to take those initiatives to make sure that they're creating longer term sustainable projects, whether it is in terms of water cycle, or whether it is power savings, or whether it is the kind of material that is being used or from where it is being brought, and the carbon footprint can be reduced. So clearly that is something that all the developers are doing. But having said that, I believe that public-private partnership is the most important solution to all the challenges that most of the cities face. And there, I think there is a lot of integration between the real estate development community and the government that can be done, that can solve some of these challenges by coming up with solutions which could be different and creating those spaces, because land is limited. The problem with infrastructure most of the time is you don't have the place to build it. And when you don't have the place, then you have to sit out of the box or think out of the box and then solve for it. And that can be created if you have enough integration in terms of public-private partnership, including the corporates and including the companies which are occupying very, very large own campuses here.
That is where we are coming in with premium FAR and the vertical growth. Also, we need to think about that seriously. Of course, it would congest the existing infrastructure, but then I think in the longer run we can develop that also, so that will make better. And the area the journey will become shorter. When you have more vertical growth, your area of coverage also will become less. Today, Bangalore is very largely widespread.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. I think that's a great policy. Of course, it needs a little bit of tweaking in certain areas to make it viable.
All this is made to make things better for all of us. It is not made only to, take it on a negative side.
Absolutely.
So any such good suggestions will be welcomed.
Absolutely. But I think what may bring a lot of value is allowing integrated development with the premium policy. Because if you're able to create, see, one of the things that people need or they travel for is the social infrastructure. More integrated development which is closer, where you don't have to travel too much for your...
I do agree, and I do believe in that. It's really the reality. And of course, see, Bangalore is a city where we get options when we want to buy a house with a pool, clubhouse, and you don't get this kind of facility in all other cities. So Bangalore has its own one signature in all people when they want to come. Many people whom I know, they all want to come and settle down in Bangalore. So Bangalore is like everybody's destination to be like. So we as responsible also need to make it better. So we will of course look into it, and I think this vertical growth also can help Bangalore's growth and the demand also. And
So
we are,
one
as a
thing-
government, we are also trying to reduce the demand so that people can affordably buy things. When the demand increases and the product is not there, the price will go up. So government is looking at reducing that. So BDA is doing layouts, making houses and providing things which is making affordable for people. So here, this is the part where government also get in, and we want even private players to do their part of it.
So when you speak about premium FAR, I want to ask Anjali, how do we see it in the light of transit-oriented development, TDR and all of it? How do we see that in the light of these things?
One before Anjali can say, these are all there in all cities.
Right.
There's nothing new, no rocket science is brought here now. So, see, anything new comes, we want to comment on it. That is the nature, okay, doesn't matter. But this is not something new out of the world. It is there everywhere, maybe a small changes here and there.
So yeah, whether it's a premium FAR or it is a TOD policy or a TDR, all these are tools which are actually, they have, and as was said earlier, that this is nothing new. Different cities have experimented with these in different parts of the world, in different parts of the country. There are lessons where we know what has worked and what has not worked. I think what needs to be done over here, so it's not just about putting the tool out in the market. It's about also the peripheries that will make the tool work, right? For instance, a TDR tool will work if we are able to, we have a larger city vision and we say there is a part of the city that is, we want as part of the larger vision, we want this part to be densified and the other part to be decongested. So the selling and the receiving zones of the TDR are defined. And those are some of the things, sir, that we really need to contextualize, and that will only happen when we are looking at the larger vision. Similarly, whether it is your TOD or it is your FAR. A premium FAR, yes, is a very, very strong tool if the ifs and buts are also thought through carefully and are put in place. I think a fundamental thing that we are missing out in this whole debate also, if I may say so, is that while the real estate developer is a very big part of the sustainable development or planned development of any city, we need to also expand our gaze a little bit beyond to what we think as the real estate developer. Today, actually, a large part of Bangalore is being constructed, and the verticality is happening on your 30-40 plots, on your 60-40 plots. The small developer is actually putting in 8 units on a 30-40 plot, 10 units on a 60-40 plot, right? And that is something that we are just turning our gaze away from. But we must understand that what is being put out on those plots is also getting consumed. So there is a demand for it, and there is a supply that is meeting that demand. But that's the regulatory framework that we are missing. And that's what the city really needs to turn its eye on and say, how do we start to regulate development? What was said right in the beginning, that all cities go through a redevelopment phase. And Bangalore is also going through that. You look at the old parts of the city, Jayanagar, Baswangudi, there is a lot of vertical development that is happening over there in plots which were only housing 1 or 2 families. Now we have 8 or 10 families. How do we start to regulate that part of the city redevelopment? It's very much needed, but how do you regulate it such that it actually starts to improve the quality of life for everybody? I think that's the part that we need to steer a gaze on.
Right. I think we're running out of time. Your views on 2040, Bangalore 2040, what is the development that you're seeing, and what are your views on that? Just 1 minute for each of you.
1 minute is not enough. But then let's see, we'll wait for it, and I'm sure Bangalore will be on the top, and we will see a lot of revolutionary changes happening, a lot of new things coming in. Some new things what we talk or what we are going to do may be not acceptable to everybody, but then that will make the difference. See, we can't make everyone accept everything and then do it. It's not going to happen. So certain things has to be done, which, see, now today, we just don't look for today, we need to look for tomorrow, which is very important. What kind of Bangalore are we living for the coming generation is more important. And some people only talk for today. We want it like this, we want it like this is for today. No. We have to be here for another thousands of years. Bangalore city will exist. So I think at larger end, all of us have to look and think about it and support policies which can help Bangalore to sustain.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I want to wholeheartedly thank Mr. Harris for giving the credit for whatever we have done as developers in this city. I kind of, respectfully disagree with Anjali Madam saying that developers should be much more responsible or what we should do. In my opinion, developers are functioning within the framework of whatever the development plan and other things that have been put forth. For example, as real estate developers, we go through 8 departments to take the NOCs and making sure that we are compliant. I don't think there is a single organized developer who is courageous to go and break any rules and regulation by putting extra floor or extra square feet or whatever it is. It's really definitely not. In fact, I always say this one, that developers are unduly credited for everything that's gone wrong in this city. We do not have that capability for sure. Because if I'm developing a 10 acres or 20 acres, my span of control is only those 20 acres. I am not even supposed to even touch the road in front of my property. Neither am I allowed to develop that road as well. So, in my opinion, as Sir said, it should be really the developer should be congratulated in the city for the kind of constraints within which we work. Coming back to this 2040, and I believe that the kind of energy this city has, yes, we will always have these problems. Having internationally worked, every city has problems. We do have problems, and I think our current government, the focus seems to be a little bit more than what the previous governments that we had. in terms of looking at problems and trying to solve problems not for today, for over the next 10 years. Particularly connecting East and North Corridor through an underpass is important, and it is very, very important that needs to happen. Today, West Bangalore cannot connect to South Bangalore because you have to go through Akipet. You cannot have to go through Balepet. You cannot connect. It's not possible. Right, so those kind of long-term vision is what I think I'm getting out of this 2040 would be appreciated.
You agree that you are, with all the problem, you are happy here?
Of course, I'm very, very happy.
Which is very important.
So the way I see 2040, I think Bangalore is a hub of innovation and technology. I believe that any problem that we have, if anybody can solve, I think we can solve it the best. How do we do it? There has to be a political will and a private will to come together to solve it. And the way I see 2040 is a city of future where people will continue to flock, continue to enjoy, entertain, and be in an environment which will be far more well-being oriented than any other city in the country.
Amen to all that was said. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.